But I think what is interesting here is the description of the season as a 153-game journey. The concept of rounds, Matthew, is gone. There will not be rounds of football as we know it. We mightn't even get through the first 4 rounds as we know it. Fremantle, Ross is flying to Melbourne this weekend. I don't reckon they'll be going back to Fremantle for some time. They might get a game away in Tasmania. They might get another game away in Melbourne. Collingwood might or might not play Richmond next Thursday night. I reckon it could be earlier, Ed. And I think that's a team goes down and not necessarily the whole team will go down. But if a team does go down, another team will come in and that game will be played.
And Ed, I found it interesting that Gil and McLachlan reiterated there will be a 17-game season, not the 22 that the players really wanted.
Well, I think, to be honest, Matt, if we got to the stage where everything was going beautifully, you might even look at that. There's nothing off the table at the moment. There really isn't. I mean, if you could get the 22, and I think we'll get to talking about the AFLPA, I think there was a bit of confusion, lost in translation, rather than anybody actually trying to
Small amount of bad behaviour. We'll have a look at that in a moment. But
we'll get stuck into it.
This is clearly you're at the coalface of this story as a member of the AFL's cabinet, one of the 4 presidents. You've been in and out of meetings all day. We're sitting here pretty excited now that Carlton and Richmond are playing, or as we speak, it could change. That's the good news. There's bad news too, isn't there?
Look, Kara, it's an interesting one. This time last week, if you had said we're going to start round 1 with no crowds, you would just be saying this is the worst day. By the time we got to today, it's our best day. But tomorrow is a new day for everyone in football. The finances of the football clubs and the AFL are absolutely extremely parlous at the moment. Never have we faced anything like this. This has been a nuclear bomb going off for the AFL. They are the best credentialed, they are the best run, they have the best financed, they have the best deals. But if you don't play football, then you don't make the money. Already we've lost 5 rounds of football. You can do the sums. 1.25 to 1.5 per game, $1 million, times 5, times 9. That's a lot of money.
So there are
9
clubs out of 18, I would argue, on the breadline, and 6 or 7 of those, certainly 5, I would say much worse. I mean, we look at the St Kilda Football Club with their massive debt. Melbourne, not great. Gold Coast and GWS, obviously. Brisbane still have a huge debt, albeit much improved last year. North Melbourne Football Club, always struggling. These clubs could quite conceivably do worse than just struggle now. There is a genuine fear those clubs could go under.
I think the thing that has made the AFL such a fantastic competition and a community has been all the money that the AFL has spent on auxiliary things, including expanding the game. Now, that is something it's the future of our game. We can't let the future of our game go. We own Marvel Stadium, we the football world. We do all these great things that we've been able to develop.
That's not going to help these clubs at the moment.
Eddie, there's only so much in the pot,
exactly, but we're going to have to pull the money back. I'm just setting the tone. Don't worry.
Do you think the pot's big enough that all clubs survive?
Well, I think what we are doing at the moment is that we're one in, all in. We want everyone to survive. We don't want to shut the doors on clubs. We don't want to sack staff. We don't want to, if we can get away with, just getting pay cuts, then that's going to be great. But I can tell you tonight, Caroline, that I spoke with the Premier of Victoria, Daniel Andrews, who is well aware of the economic impact on Victoria if clubs were to fold or to have to sack so many people. The football industry feeds a lot of people in this town, no doubt about that, and right around the country. But I'm speaking of Daniel Andrews, the Victorian Premier. He is talking with Gil McLachlan at the moment and Ray Gunston and Richard Goyder, the chairman of the AFL Commission, about how they can help football survive. Now, there won't be a handout because the state of Victoria has to look after itself. So the state government will not be giving a handout, but there are other machinations that can come into play where there might be a line of credit to help save the AFL and get through not just this year. This is going to take 10 years to get through. And certainly the next 3 years, there's going to be an impost because there will be a massive line of credit, i.e. a secured loan to get us over the line.
We are biased. We love the AFL.
Hundreds of millions of dollars?
But it sets a precedent, doesn't it?
Caroline, yeah, because that's what it's costing. I mean, the clubs themselves, they're looking at losses of anywhere between, mate, $8 and $15 million per club. That's just the clubs. Then the AFL. So the AFL, right, we're playing. So the TV money starts to flow. But the money that keeps the clubs alive are the people walking in the door. There's none. 6 months lockout is what we've got today. That's the season. unless we
Will
play
it get
up
to a
Christmas.
federal level? Will there be a federal
I think
assistance?
there is. There's talks going on everywhere, but I can just say to you that this is, as I said the word parlous before, it is crucial that we are able to find the money to be able to keep the game going in the way we have. Now, are the clubs under pressure? Everyone's under pressure. But at the moment, we're doing it collectively. We don't want anyone to fall. We don't want anyone to fail. Every club is a major part of the AFL. No one club is greater than the other as far as its importance in the rich tapestry of the game. Pull the string on the tapestry, sometimes the whole thing goes. So we are working to the best of our ability, and the AFL are doing a great job, and civic leaders and banks and institutions are coming to the party. Just to digress for a moment, this week Collingwood has had a spike in memberships, people signing up. Hawthorn have had not one person ask for their money back. The supporters are sticking with us at the moment. It's so emotional in football at the moment, Caroline. I can tell you, I teared up during the week when I got some of the messages coming through from our supporters at Collingwood, but I know that to be the case right around the place.
So we're talking about a multi-million, hundreds of millions of dollars, Matthew, a line of credit Ed's just revealed. What does this mean in terms of the players?
Yeah, it's a good point, Cara, because we saw 88% of players, the survey had said they want to keep playing. But it's interesting over the last couple of days, I am aware of some players who aren't comfortable about playing. So what I will be doing is looking through some of the teams and saying, OK, who isn't playing? Who is possibly out with an injury? Ed, so I'm not sure whether a club would come out and be totally honest and say, this player is out because he feels it's unsafe.
It's a really good point you make, but can I say this? Honesty is the only policy, and if there are conscientious objectors, which was a term that was used during the week...
To continue with the wartime parlance.
Exactly.
So you think we'll see it though, Ed? Do you think we'll have a player?
I think if there is no problem whatsoever, this is not putting people in... They won't be able to perform anyway. Yeah. But there's no shame if you're worried, if you've got family connections or things like that. There is no shame. This is not about shame. You got it right a moment ago, Ross Lyon. We're in it together. And if people don't want to play or they can't play or they've got an issue, that's fine. We'll replace people and we'll go on and the game will prevail. There's no issue, there's no shame. The mistakes will be made. They won't be mistakes when we make the decisions, but we're all doing it.
And mistakes have been made already today. Sorry to interrupt you, Ross. I mean, Channel 7, for example, I think were incredibly frustrated as meetings dragged on and on and on. I mean, no one cares as much about the broadcaster. Players didn't know if they were going to play. We're going to be talking to someone who is playing tomorrow night in a few moments. But I'm interested also in the fact that clubs weren't all completely united. I understand Tom Harley, the CEO of Sydney, didn't not want to play, but certainly was not over the line in playing, and there was some concerns there about perhaps trading while insolvent if you are playing a football game when you might be in financial strife. These are things we've never had to look at before.
Caroline, I can tell you that today the Commission weren't sold. You know, it was probably getting the Health Minister, Greg Hunt, and Brendan Murphy, the head medical officer, who dialed into the meeting that actually swung it back the way to playing the game. This flipped and flopped all day today because every time we got to a position, or the AFL Commission and Gil McLachlan got to a position, another issue arose. So then you had to start from scratch again and go through. This has been as forensic as you could possibly get. And I thought, you look at Gil McLachlan there tonight, he presented beautifully, he did it in a way, a statesman-like way, but at the same time, he is dead on his feet. And I think he's actually, as we speak, having a bit of a walk around the suburbs of Melbourne trying to get some fresh air.